Beis, and we're starting the next mimer. ולקחתם לכם ביום הראשון פרי עץ הודה כפי סמורים. This is talking about Sukkot. We talked about Rosh Hashanah and keeping mimer on Sukkot. That bayom harishon, on the first day of Sukkot, then the mitzvah is that you should take the lulav and esrog, and this is expressed in the Torah with these words: "Pri etz hoda kapis mor." We want to understand mipnei ma nivcharu minim elu davka. Why these types were selected, and this was exclusively. You can't substitute with anything else. Mahu hayisrim bohem. What is the supremacy in these four kinds? I'll call min hatzemeach over the entire broad species of tzemeach, of plant life. She'elo nivcharu davka lemitzvah. That these were specifically selected for the mitzvah. Furthermore, we also need to understand the mitzvah, the details of the mitzvah itself. Somebody has forgotten to mute their phone. Please. We also need to understand that the lulav has to be taken in the sukkah. The mashaychos mitzvahs lulav sukkah. What is the relationship between mitzvah and lulav and the mitzvah of sukkah? And then more details also. What is the significance of the nanu, of the shaking of the lulav, moving it back and forth? And the fact that the nanuyim have to be specifically by taking the lulav, while you are going around in hakofes with the lulav, you don't have to be menaneya. You don't have to shake the lulav. Only when you take it, that's when you have to be menaneya. To understand all of this, we have to revisit again what we already have discussed before and bring out other points. And what we discussed previously was hatam, the explanation and the reason for the fact that Yom Tov Shel Rosh Hashanah Shechal B'Shabbos, that if Rosh Hashanah falls out on Shabbos, Ein Toikim B'Shefar, we do not blow the shofar. So we discussed in the previous mimer this phenomenal thing. How can you eliminate the mitzvah of shofar because of a far off suspicion? And we explained that the reason that we don't build shofar because the essence of the mitzvah of shofar is to be mamshich, that bechina which is implied in the pasuk by v'nohor yoytze me'eden, that this is Eden is atik, is the oineg atzmi, and nohor yoytze me'eden to be mamshich this oineg atzmi to be mamshich lamato, and that is the name from Shkia Shefer. Hainu his galus atik shebibino lagam. Nohor is bino. The galus atik shebibino to be megala the atik the oinig that is in bino the gan into gan when the gan is bechina zo or malchus, as we explained. The gam, and also furthermore, even at the higher level, laham shebechinas eidem mikedem, to be mamshe that bechina which is called eidem mikedem, that is before the nohor. Lebechinas atik mamos, the very essence of atik. This is ultimately the effect of the mitzvah of shofar. Shezehu mashe mitzvah bikfufim. That this explains why the mitzvah is bikfufim, that the shofar has to be kofuf, has to be bent. And Zesh HaShefer Kofuf, Father and Shefer is bent Mamshich Milamayla Meyatzem HaShefer. That draws and touches Lamayla, the essence of the Shefer. And the essence of the Shefer, this is the union of the Atik Mamush. Not the way it is in Bina, but the Atik Mamush. This is the union HaShefer. And therefore explained of Shabbos, that on Shabbos calls and Yimshech Memela. On Shabbos, all of these things, all the way up to Ayin itself, Ayin Mikedem is also Yimshech Memela automatically because of the special quality of Shabbos. Shezei Inyan, because on Shabbos Eineg. Now this is implied in the Pasuk, in the Pesach Korosa, Shabbos Eineg. The Shabbos is called Eineg. And what is Eineg? Rosh Tevis, Eiden Nohor Gan. Eineg is Rosh Tevis. And the acronym of Eineg is implying that there is all these three madrigas. Eiden, which is the Eiden Mikedem, the Atik. Nohor is the Bina. And Gan, this is Shenimshach Begimus Sudas the Shabbos. And these three madrigas are Nimshach in the three Sudas of Shabbos. And as we explained, that it goes, that each Suda represents a different madriga. And that the Friday night is Zohar, and then there is Atik, and then there is Bina, and then Raiva the Raivim, this is Suda Shrishis. V'alkein, Ein Tzorich, Ein Oski, Shefer, this is on Shabbos. That's why on Shabbos we don't add Bal Shefer because it's not necessary. Because that with Shefer is supposed to be Mamshech, is Nimshech on Shabbos with Derech Meir. This is, B'kitzur, the gist of the explanation that we have given in a previous mimer for this question. To further understand in greater detail, in greater tangibility, so to speak, of these inyonim. Also, we need to understand another nuance in this. Mashe Psuk is Shefres, that the Psukim, that of Shefer, you know, at the Rosh Hashanah we have two things. We have the Psukim, Malchi is the Chlinis of Shefres, and then there is also the blowing of the Shefer itself. So, and the fact is that the Psuk is Shefer, the Psukim that mentions Shefer, Tzorich Leimer Gam B'Shabbos, that needs to be said even on Shabbos. That although the blowing of Shefer itself is not necessary on Shabbos, Mikomo came, Psuke Shefer, Shebetero, Tzrikim Leim B'Shabbos Gamki. The Psukim that mentions Shefer, that we need to say on Shabbos also. In other words, Shabbos is Mamshech, the Inyonim of Shefer, but it's not Mamshech, the Inyonim that Nimshech to the Psukim of Shefer. To understand that, Yesh L'Hagdim Tchilo, you have to discuss first Mashikosu, the posting that says Nasa Odom Betzalmeinu Kid Musein. This is the initial statement in the Torah regarding the creation of Odom. So there it says Nasa Odom, let us make man b'tzalmeinu kid musinu, in our selim in our demus. We will discuss the specific inference of tzelem on demus. Both are replying likeness. Demus means likeness, and tzelem means in the form, and we will see what that implies. Sheha'odom kolu. But the Pasuk clearly states that the Odom incorporates and is putting and has included in Odom is Mebechinas Selem or the Mus, between from the two qualities of Selem and the Mus.
The Mus again?
The Mus? Likeness. We are not new to this possibly. We are constantly mentioning it, constantly discussing it, pointing to the supreme presence of the human being, particularly, of course, of the Yid, the supreme presence of the human being that is really godlike, as we mentioned all the time, independent of the whole physical structure. The difference between these two aspects of Tzelem and the Mus. The Tzelem hu bechinas tzuro atzmis. So it's explained. The difference is that Tzelem is the aspect of what's called tzuro atzmis. The Mus hu bechinas tzuro mitzuro. Tzuro atzmis, to translate the words, these are subtle things, and we'll have to go into it a little bit. But to translate tzuro atzmis means the essential tzura. And when you say essential tzura, clearly it immediately implies that this is a tzura that goes together with the essence. It's inseparable, and it surfaces. It comes through because of what the essence is. It is not a means to represent the Yatzim. It is the Yatzim representing itself. That's a tzura atzmis. The Mos, who bechinas tzura mitzura. There is a likeness. A likeness means that you have a likeness from something that is visible, that is presented. That means tzura mitzura, the tzura from the tzura. B'inyan tzuro atzmis, the principle of tzuro atzmis, hu shehatzuro hi be'etzem hadover umehusei. Tzuro atzmis is applicable when the tzura is within the etzem hadover, within the essence of the thing, umahusei, and the mahus of the thing. Well, the word mahus, as we pointed out many times, is a little bit elusive, and ultimately we made attempts to focus in on it. Mahus is that which provides for the actual presence of this thing. In everything there is what is present, and there is why it is present. In other words, what gives it the presence? What gives it, you could put it in coarse words, what gives it the right to be? What's meant mahus? Now, mahus applies to something. The whole term mahus applies to something that has a presence of its own. In other words, if it is there only because something else affects it, there's no mahus. Mahus means it has a presence of its own. So therefore, mahus refers to something that has an essential presence. And then there is tzuro atzmis. Tzuro atzmis means a tzura that represents that reality itself. And this tzura is be'etzem hadover. In other words, the tzura is not an add-on. The tzura is not just a means to represent its presence. And you can represent its presence in multiple ways. There should be a tzura that's superimposed on the mahus. Tzura atzmis means that the tzura is something that surfaces directly from the mahus, from what justifies this presence. It represents the truth of this presence.
A tzura that surfaces from the mahus. Some kind of form that is essential.
Right.
When I hear mahus, I think of etzem. Mahus,
right.
Can we have a?
Well, there's no other way to translate. Mahus means the essence.
Do we? Is there a different English word to use when we think of mahus?
I explain.
Etzem, we have
mahus. Mahus, there is, except the minute you just are using English words, you associate it with the common parlance, and it has a completely different meaning. Because all languages except Lashon Kodesh are humanly created, so you don't have an essential reality to them. When you say mahus means, the word mahus means mahu, what is this? Now, what's the question? What is, okay, this is a table, this is a chair, this is a person. The question, mahu means, what is it that justifies its existence? What it is I see. When you say, for instance, what is this doing over here? It's standing there. The question what it's doing here is an implication. What is Malhus over here? What is Malhus? What does it stand for? Not that it stands. And an essential thing means it stands for. It has a true presence. This is the Indian essence, as we are struggling the whole time to focus in and understand that essence is something which is a phenomenal reality, and in the world there is no such thing. As in the world, everything that exists, you immediately ask, what's its function? But there is a true presence that's beyond being captured by its function. It is, on the contrary, this is the cause for everything, rather than being a utility for something.
Is it okay for now if this truth level, mahus and etzem, sound like they just sound like the same thing? Has that been distinguished, or is it okay to hear them as?
No, well, that's what we're trying to distinguish a little bit.
Okay.
Etzem does not speak of what the Etzem stands for. Mahuz speaks of what the Etzem stands for. Mahu, what is it? And this Torah is a Torah that is within the Mahus of the Etzem. The Etzem Hadover of Mahus. Right? Slowly this thing will be, maybe we'll find an English word for it. I doubt it.
The other day, I think you described Moses as that which provides for its existence.
Okay. Right. And what is the implication of that provides for its existence? What's the implication of this? In worldly terms, it doesn't mean anything. There is space, and then therefore this thing is there. But space is a totally meaningless and neutral place. But we are saying no, it provides for it, which means it gives it significance. because in truth, in Elokus, there is nothing that is inadvertent. The whole world of intelligence, this is what sets the intelligence apart from everything else. That in at every other level, in midas, touch and everything, you can accept the fact that it exists, not in seichel. In seichel, it doesn't exist if it doesn't have a mahus. Doesn't have an element of truth. What is it? What is it about?
So it sounds like, in other words, in English you're translating it as a question. It sounds like that in English you're translating it as a question. You're saying mahus is what does it stand for? That's what it is. That's what mahus is.
Right. But this is not. It's right. But it's not presented as a question because it answers its own question. Mahu, what is it? In other words, it has an inherent justification.
Just like a whole parenthesis you have to put in order to justify.
No, this is a good point. It may help us understand a little deeper because in the world you said there is no etzem. And therefore, in the world, whatever you observe in the world begs an answer. What is it about? Why is it here? Because it does not have a self-justifying presence. And etzem has a mahus. It has a self-justifying presence. So the question is the answer. To explain the Sinyan, Tzura Atzmis.
Where are we now?
We are 6 lines from the top of the second section. The V'hinei kol tzura, for every tzura. What is the principle of a tzura? He bechinas gilui. Tzura stands for the aspect of Gilui. Gilui means revelation, and it also means expression. And that is what Tzura is. This is the Gilui, the representation of something. That's what the Tzura is about. Ukenoida, as is known, the Inyan Choymer v'Tzura, when the two principles in the discussion, the two principles of Choymer v'Tzura. The word Choymer means the material itself, the neutral material, neutral presence, and Tzura is its form. The Choymer hu ho'atzmi v'hapshitu shel hadov. So in explaining the relative difference between Chaymer and Tzura, so Chaymer is ho'atzmi v'hapshitu shel hadov. Again, Chaymer, as we said, to translate the word Chaymer literally, it means the material from which something is made. Now, in our world, the material is totally not related to the object that's made of it. A table could be made of wood, could be made of steel, could be made of plastic. The material does not present what it is. There's not an essential in this material. What would be more closer, even in our sense of reality, to chomer? The chomer of the table is not the actual material, the wood or the metal or the plastic. It is, chomer is something that is solid and tangible. What it's made of, that could be multiple things. So what is the chomer of the table?
Matter.
What kind of matter? A solid matter. Wind is also matter, but that's not chomer for the table. Therefore, if we identify chomer in this fashion, then we get to see how chomer relates to the object that it's used for. What enables you to think of a table? The fact that there is such a chomer.
We used to say the opposite. The table comes from some inner human.
That's a tzura, the table.
So here it's what enables you to think of the tzura, the form of the table.
What enables you to think of the fact of the presence of a table?
Physical
That's
table.
only,
physical table.
That's only physical material that'll
Physical
allow
material,
you to
not wood, not plastic,
Some hard thing.
but the whole,
some hard stuff.
the basic reality of it.
In contrast to thinking of air or some other.
Water.
Uh-huh. Okay, and this is to tell us what chomer is. No,
So this is
tell
to
us-
understand what he says over here. Chomer the chomer hu ho'atzmi v'hapshitu shel hador. This is the etzem and the pshitus of this thing. Now, if we think of chomer as we initially translated, wood has nothing to do with the table.
Mhm. It's not the atzmi.
It's
of
not
the
speaking
table.
about anything. It's speaking about itself. What is the chomer that you could say this is the atzmi and pshitus shel hador? This is the nature of this chomer. This is the chomer that this is the quality in wood or plastic or anything that allows it to be formed in a certain way and stand and remain standing. I mean, we're talking on a very simple and low level, but everything is reflected everywhere. The pshitus, meaning the initial possibility, before you even think of doing it. This possibility exists in an initial level. In other words, before you even contemplate, you even realize that it's useful. Pashtus, it is there initially. What is there in the world initially that permits for a table? Is this type of a chomer? Is this in you? That you can take an object and put it down and it stays there.
The chomer hu ha'atzmi v'hapshitus shel hadavar. How could the chomer be the atzmi of the thing? The thing's the thing. The chomer is what enables it. I'm not getting this.
time is up, but as I said before, what enables a person even to dream of a table?
To dream of a table in essence or on earth?
On earth.
Oh, so what enables him to dream? Some hard stuff that he can make it from? But he wouldn't have that dream unless he had some inner...
I'm not talking about the human element.
More from the matter.
Yeah, we're talking about the factual thing. In everything there is
what on earth would facilitate, so you said, this hard material?
This thing that you talk about, the human element, is the pshat that the world provides at every level the representation of all higher levels. Yes, initially it is a human element, but then it's translated at the practical human level.
Which has to do with this koyim.
It has to do with the chayim.
These terms, Atmi and Pshitas, are used differently than what we had in the last mimer when we were talking about their kochos and their Atmius and Pshitas.
We'll have to interrupt because I'm sorry. Okay, we'll revisit it Sunday, Mr. Shem. This is it for this morning. It's a Chassidus. We really have to.
I don't know what you got.
I can write a picture for you.
But
have a good day.
We're going to draw a picture. We're going to draw a map. I'll show you where it is.
location.